Good evening, everybody. Jack O'Malley coming to you from the office of the 101st in Lansing. And the sun is setting over the Capitol. It's a beautiful day. I dropped the blinds because it's pretty bright out there. But for February, I'll take the sunshine. So I've been in Lansing this week. A lot happening. Things are moving. And I just wanted to touch base with you on a couple of things to update you on where we're going. I hope you enjoyed the interview with the elections chair, Anne Boleyn, from Monday. If you haven't seen it, go back. It's just a few minutes discussion of what Anne as elections chair wants to look into our problems that we did have with the election. This year, there were, again, I won't go into all of it, but the mailing of unsolicited applications for ballots really confused a lot of people and that sort of thing. So I believe our Secretary of State has to be kept in check. That's our job as a legislature oversight. So go back and watch it if you would. I want to touch base on a couple things. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I was honored to be asked to join a task force that's bipartisan, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats. We are going to look at the adoption issue in the state of Michigan. And what? Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, there's the foster child. I believe I think the number is 12,000 foster children waiting in this state to be adopted. And they're looking for good families. We need to do that. And then there's just regular child adoption. We've got a lot of issues and things that we could be doing, I think, legally within the law to make it easier and maybe not as expensive for the adoption process. So the task force is going to go out, talk to people, and then come up with recommendations. And I think it is a good thing. So I'm honored to be on that task force. And also knee deep right now in child care issues. And, it's funny, I was chatting with somebody this week and I thought, if you'd have asked me if this is what I thought I would be knee deep in, but adoption and child care, so vitally important, and our children are so important to our future. And being on the education committee, if I can get something done and help the kids and the families in this state, that'll have been a good time in office. So lots of things to work on, of course, but if my legacy is that of helping kids and families, I'll take it. Let's see, tomorrow in oversight, it's going to be interesting. We've got the state in to talk about the vaccine rollout. I've been in contact with some of our local health folks to get a feel for how it's going on in the 101st. So I'll report more on that. I don't want to give my thoughts too much, but we'll hear how it's going and report back on the answers to some questions from the folks on the committee. Okay, so that's tomorrow. The one thing I think that is really important to focus on tonight is in recent days, you may have heard, and I've talked about this, that our appropriations committee said, okay, we've got like $5 billion in COVID money, but we're only going to allocate right now a portion of that for specific things to help. And as I told you a few weeks ago, I said, we're going to do this. And when we do, be ready, because the administration is going to squeal that, we aren't being kind, we aren't caring, we want people to die and freeze, and we're just terrible because we're not spending all this money. And I said, no, remember 2 things. One, our job is to appropriate the funds, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow with our COVID relief. The other thing is, this is how a legislature handles things. That's how, a governor can veto something if they don't want to take it up or don't like it. A legislature says, hey, come talk to us. We've got the budget. And that's what this is all about. And we've got, money going to help the unemployment fund. The governor's got tons of money going into other things. We want to help the people with this budget. And one of the things that I find is very interesting is we've tie-barred it to another bill that says you've got to open up the school's sports. You got to let the high school kids play. Now, some will say, Jack, there's problems today. What are you worrying about the kids? They don't play hockey. Who cares? Well, here's the thing. I believe that, as crazy as this sounds, all the unbalanced approach, all the inadequacy of how the governor has handled COVID and the state's response. There are some things that, COVID, we're learning on the fly. But overall, as I've said many a time in many updates, the state's approach has been unbalanced and wrong. Two patients. We've got the COVID patient and then the economic and social patient that is being hurt. But for whatever reason, well, my governor is keeping me safe. So everything she's doing is fine. Even though our civil liberties are being shot, things are happening, businesses are being forced out of business into bankruptcy because of a governor's unilateral rule. You got it all. The point is, kids in high school sports may be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I'll tell you why. Because I think all the other stuff that the governor's done that I believe is unbalanced and wrong, or misguided at the very least, can be, well, she's keeping us safe, this, that. There is no reason why you don't let high school kids play. And I'll explain to you who think, oh my gosh, she's just keeping those high school kids safe. All the college teams are playing. All the pro teams are playing. Every other state is allowing their winter sports athletes in high school to play. Right now, if they are practicing, it can't be contact and they got to be wearing masks. We're the only state requiring masks for our high school athletes. This fall, when football was enacted, they were taking tests. 30,000 tests for COVID, 99.8% negativity rate. These high school kids and their coaches are doing what the governor asks. And what do they get for it? They get the shaft. So we've tie-barred these bills. We're not keeping or withholding. We're saying, Governor, you want this money for COVID relief and et cetera, et cetera? Okay, that's good. But you got to let the kids come back to the field or the rink. And we were called reckless and cruel. We're cruel by tie-barring this high school thing to our COVID relief. And Chair Albert of the Appropriations Committee had a great response. Okay, if you call that cruel, Governor, for tie-barring a legislation that says, okay, this happens if this happens. Here are some of the things the governor has vetoed, and you tell me if it's cruel and reckless. $200,000 for adoptive family support. $700,000 to help pregnant women through childbirth and then the first year. That's not cruel, is it? Taking $700,000 away from pregnant moms. $1 million for various autism programs. That was vetoed by the governor. That's not cruel because the governor did it. $250,000 for the kids' food basket. Kids don't need to eat. $500,000 senior citizens program grants cut by the governor, vetoed. $4 million for county veteran services. That's not cruel. Our veterans, they're okay. $2 million for secondary road patrols. This was especially for rural counties. This allows counties to pay for a secondary back road type of patrol. You know what? Most of the criminal activity doesn't happen on the main drag. It happens on the secondary roads. $6.3 million tuition grants. 17,000 college kids in the state were hampered by that one. That's not cruel or reckless by the governor. She vetoed that. $35 million for charter schools. That got vetoed by the governor, not cruel. $10 million for school safety grants. Vetoed by the governor. But she didn't say, oh, I'm going to do this because it's cruel. No. $9 million for rural schools. But here's the big enchilada, the big casino. The governor vetoed $56 million for rural hospitals, including OB/GYN services. That's not cruel. That's not reckless. Now, I will say most of that was restored through other efforts by the legislature. So we're tie barring a budget that says, all right, you want this, Madam Governor, let the kids back to play. That's cruel and reckless, but cutting $56 million for rural hospitals, including funding for OBGYN, that's not cruel and reckless? Amazing how, purview it makes something look different. So tomorrow I'm going to vote yes on that appropriations bill, and on the tie barring it with high school sports, because we got to let them play. And I believe if you take a look at why the whole high school situation, you will see the lunacy, the no nonsense reason why so many things have been done in the state of Michigan, all in the name of COVID response. Remember, science and data is swag, scientific, wild ass guess. And that's where we're at, with the only state in the union not letting high school kids play. So it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow, and I'll report to you on Friday as to where we go and how we do, and I'll let you know about the vaccine oversight committee too. So lots of things to think about, lots of things working. It's all good things that are happening here, and the governor has got to address some of these things. And I don't think she's feeling real comfortable right now. Just my read. Have a good night, everybody.